In this video, we're going to talk about how you can be making six figures and still be living paycheck to paycheck. And hopefully I can provide some information for you to avoid some of those pitfalls if you are making six figures or if you aim to be making six figures in the future. So stick around for all of that. Hi, my name is Adrian and this is Always Talk Money. I like to talk money as it relates to everyday life. Now, I don't have any investing tips or get rich quick schemes, just a candid conversation amongst friends. Let's get into the video. Now, I came across this article on fortune.com of six-figure earners who are living paycheck to paycheck, and the survey was done by a company called Payments or whatever it is, and 51% of the surveyors said that they were making six figures but living paycheck to paycheck. And the problem is, it's not necessarily the money, but it's the attitude towards money. Now, I want to do a little story time, and you guys are also involved. I want to ask you a question, and I bet I know what the answer is going to be. Now, think about a time in your life previous to now, let's say 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when you said to yourself, man, I'm really struggling, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, but if I could just make an extra 10K annually, I'll be set. I won't have to deal with this anymore. That was 5 years ago, right? So we're still talking about the version of you from 5 years ago. Now fast forward to today. Are you making 5 to 10K more than you were making 5 years ago? Did you hit that number? Right? Did you tell yourself, when I made 50K, when I made 60K, when I made 70K, my life is going to be straight? And have you hit that number? And is your life straight? I'm guessing for most people, the answer is going to be no, because that's lifestyle creep. We tell ourselves these stories about how when we make 50K, I'm never going to be broke again. When we make 70K, I'm never going to go in debt again. But time and time and time, we keep on still making the same mistakes. And that's the same thing that's happening to the people who are making over 100K a year. Because I'm sure in the cold light of day, if you went to those people 5, 6, 7 years ago and told them, hey, you're going to be making over 100K a year, but you're still going to be in the same spot you are, living paycheck to paycheck, they probably would have thought you were silly. They probably would have been like, hell no, I'm not going to fumble the bag. We see it all the time. Athletes, entertainers, musicians, you name it. A lot of people have fumbled the bag. And we, as couch voyeurs and people who are not in those people's state of minds, in those people's lives, in those people's families, we look at them and we call them stupid. And we're like, if I ever got that amount of money, that will never happen to me. But unfortunately, it happens to everyone who doesn't have the right mindset around money. And that's why I have this channel, for us to talk money in a more practical and daily way, for us to understand that money is not numbers on a spreadsheet, but rather more psychological, and it's also a tool. We can continue to blame the government, we can blame taxes, we can blame inflation, we can even blame the recession, we can blame our bosses for not giving us a big enough raise. All these things can be factors as to why you still have not been able to hit your financial goals. All these things can be factors as to why you're continuing to accrue debt. All these things can be a factor in understanding that yes, you are still living paycheck to paycheck and you want to get out of that cycle. But it starts with you understanding that blaming the government, your bosses, your spouse, your kids, whatever, the lizard down the street, you have to take responsibility for your finances. And I'm not saying this as someone who hasn't been there. I've been there. I've blamed external factors for why my financial situation did not improve year over year over year. I made more money, but I was still in the same exact position. The rat race and the hamster wheel is a real thing, and you have to find a way to break free. Shameless plug, if you want to break free, please give me a subscribe and a like, because these are the conversations we're going to have. But please, I would really appreciate it, and I want to continue to grow this community of people who want to break free from the rat race, because I want, whenever you start making six figures or more, you are not one of those people who are going to continue to live paycheck to paycheck, or worse, one of those people who are going to lose it. Because part of making a lot of money is keeping a lot of money. That's where the real change in your financial outlook on life for you, yourself, and your family, that's where it really kicks in. Another part of the study that I read, that in June of 2022, they surveyed people making $250K or more per year, and a third of them, were still living paycheck to paycheck. Now, these aren't people necessarily that have a million kids, that have a lot of medical expenses and unexpected emergency happening out of nowhere. These are just regular people like you and me, might have one kid, might have two kids, but that lifestyle creep is what gets them. That social media keeping up with the Joneses. Because before, back in the day, it was just about keeping up with your next door neighbor or the neighbor down the street. Now we are comparing ourselves to 8 billion people on this planet. And that is where people get into trouble. You want to have a Mercedes? They want to have a Mercedes. They want to have a Bugatti, as Andrew Tate would say. They want to fly private, or they want to fly first class. They want to go on extravagant vacations every quarter, every month. All these things are a threat to your financial future when the chickens come to roost. And a part of it is when things are going good, people like to just keep going good. But when things are going good is when you should look forward to saving and investing and try to make sure you're dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's. Because when those emergencies come, Murphy's Law, if it can happen, it will happen, or whatever the saying is. You guys know what the saying is. People don't expect that when the good times are rolling, that they will stop rolling. And that's a mistake. Paycheck to paycheck is not necessarily meaning you're struggling. It just means that you are at the end of the rope, and if the wind blows too hard, your whole house of cards just gonna keep tumbling down. And I have been there. I know how it feels to wake up with such anxiety in your throat, a lot of tension in your body, because you know that car emergency, a medical emergency, a school emergency, losing your job, one thing to happen and your whole situation just flies out the window and you're in a world of panic. Now, what do we want to do as people and members of this community? We want to start simple. And the first place to start is use a budget to understand how much money you need to be able to save, or if you can save, because sometimes it's not about making more money, it's spending less. There's two parts of it, the incoming and the outgoing. Always use a budget. I use a budget diligently, and I know it sounds very simple, very rudimentary, but I promise you, no matter how much money you make, using a budget is always the best policy. I mean, the government uses a budget, municipalities, corporations, businesses, all those people use budgets and spreadsheets. And you are a mini corporation, right? And if you're struggling because, it's a recession and so on and so forth, I do have a video on recession-proof tips. So check that out. I'll put it in the description or in the eye above, but you can check that out. But in closing, this is the knowledge and the information I want to impart on you. Remember at the beginning of the video, we talked about the story that you told yourself, that in 5 to 10 years, I'm going to make X amount of dollars and all my financial woes are going to be behind me. Today, we're going to draw a line in the sand. Whenever you're watching this video, this is going to be the new line in the sand. I want you to envision a future of how much money you're going to make in the future. It could be 5K, 10K, 20K, 30K. It could be whatever number you want. But 5 years from now, you're going to hit that number. But the challenge I want to present to you today is that you're going to keep your expenses exactly as they are in the present moment. Adjusted for inflation, of course, but I don't want you to add a new Mercedes. I don't want you to upgrade your house. I don't want you to start having 4 or 5 kids, because those little rascals are expensive as well. But I want you to draw a line in the sand today and say, in 5 years' time, I'm going to be making 10, 20, 30K more than I'm making today. And if you do that and you draw a line in the sand today, in 5 to 10 years from now, after you're watching this video, your expenses are going to be here, but you're going to have 10, 20, 30K more in income. And that's where you're really going to start to see the difference in your financial situation. But that's it for the end of the video, guys. New videos every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to try to stick to that time slot. And give a video a like, get the subscribe button, hit it down below. Please and thank you. Hit notifications. But 12 p.m. Eastern is when the videos will be live. And I appreciate you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. Let me know in the comments below if you did visualize that story in your mind. And if you want to put your number down in the comments below, is it 10K more, 20K more, 30K more? Interact with each other down there and tell each other, in 5 years, I'm going to be making 30, 40, 50K more annually. And that is going to be my line in the sand. Okay, so put 20K line in the sand, 30K line in the sand. Put that down in the comments below right now. Do not hesitate. Do it right now. I can see you hesitating. Do it right now. But that's the end of the video, guys. I will see you later. Be good. Peace.